Welcome back to America Decides. President Trump has said again and again there will be trade deals with countries from around the world because he's threatened tariffs if they don't reach agreements with the United States. And the talk about these conversations and possible deals has fueled kind of some optimism on Wall Street, which was definitely downcast for a while about the whole trade war thing. Well, there's only one problem. We still don't have, meaning the United States, under the Trump administration, a new deal with anyone. That's created more uncertainty. So I want to bring in Justin Wolfers. He is a professor of public policy and economics at the University of Michigan. Very quotable, highly popular. Justin, always great to have you. Thanks for being with us. So let's get to this China question. I don't want to be a dupe and say, well, the Chinese say they're not talking, so there's no talks. It's probably pretty evident that there is some conversation. Maybe it's at lower levels. But the two largest economies in the world that are effectively involved in a trade embargo cannot not be talking to each other. There probably are some conversations going on. What do you think the shelf life for the market and the global economy is for something to be resolved before real damage starts to set in?
Look, there's already real damage being seen right now. It may well be there's stuff going on at the junior levels, but the tariffs with China have been such a central part of President Trump's program, and the political fallout is such an important part of Chinese politics right now that this is a negotiation. It's going to have to involve the presidents of the two countries. And as far as we can tell, they haven't been on the phone to each other once in the entire second term. Look, Trump said that his shock and awe tariffs, 145%, would get China on the phone. Mate, if you want to get someone on the phone, the way you do that is you pick up the phone and they tend to answer it, and they particularly do that when you're the leader of the free world. So this seems to be a standoff that's doing nothing other than hurting the American people. We've seen the White House acknowledge this. The Treasury Secretary said that these tariffs are unsustainable. They are. The problem is if no one changes them, they're going to continue to be at this ridiculous and unsustainable level, which hurts Americans just as it hurts Chinese.
And it seems to me, Justin, I like your perspective on this, that this week was pretty important in terms of the Trump administration recasting, maybe recalibrating its rhetoric and maybe its policy. As you mentioned, the Treasury Secretary, though in a private meeting, but it's been confirmed, told investors it's a trade embargo with China, it's unsustainable, and there will be a resolution sometime soon. The president said he had no intention of firing the Federal Reserve Chairman, Jerome Powell, even though he'd been hinting in that direction, and the White House said it had been studying the legality of that for several days. And then Elon Musk said he's going to take a much less prominent role with the Department of Government Efficiency. That all happened on Tuesday. That feels like a kind of a reset moment. What does it feel like to you?
It feels like what we've seen is, for the first few weeks, is every time Trump moved forward, whether it was talking about replacing the Treasury Secretary, moving forward with DOGE, moving forward with tariffs, raising tariffs, every time he did that, the stock market fell. And the real question was, in the second term, was Trump going to move forward regardless, as he has on a range of other policy issues, or was he going to be more like he was in the first term and listen to markets and walk things back when it becomes clear that he's destroying wealth? The fabulous, important, and really wonderful news of this past week is it appears that when markets vomit hard enough, this president's willing to listen. That's really grading on a curve right there. The reason markets have risen this week is every time Trump doesn't do something destructive, then one possible negative future just got erased, and that makes markets really happy. And so he's erased a few of those negative possibilities, but plenty more remain.
I want to play for you, Justin, sound from today in the Oval Office, where the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent talked about negotiations with the South Koreans. Let's listen.
I'd like to take care of all of them, but we have many of them there, and they all want to meet. They want to meet about trade. And we are making some great inroads and great deals.
We may be moving faster than I thought, and we will be talking technical terms as early as next week as we reach an agreement on understanding as soon as next week. So South Koreans came early, they came with their A game, and we will see if they follow through.
So I think you could read that on Wall Street one of two ways. That sounds super, super positive, or that sounds awfully vague.
I got one more. Hey, listen, here's news for the President and the Secretary of the Treasury. We already have a free trade agreement with Korea. We've had one for nearly 20 years. Almost all trade between the United States and Korea is tariff-free and has been for over a decade. There's nothing more you can do rather than drop the tariffs that you already don't have. Of course they're going to sign an agreement. The agreement's going to say we're not going to charge tariffs on American goods because we don't. Of course Korea's at the front of the queue. This is the easiest one in the world. The only thing this is going to achieve is taping back together the agreement that the president already ripped up. There's one more problem here, by the way. The existing agreement was a good agreement. It was passed by Congress. It binds future administrations. The president's not talking about going back to Congress on that. So all that means is this is an agreement for the duration of the Trump administration. It only papers over the problems that the Trump administration has created. And it's not going to create the sort of stability that would lead to the sort of enduring investments that would make economic sense.
And more to the point, Justin, an agreement with South Korea would impress no one outside of South Korea and America in terms of trying to evaluate the future of this policy, whatever it might be.
Mate, next they're going to line up the Australians and get a free trade agreement with Australia. We have one!
You know, that's why we love having you on, Justin. We love having you on because you cut to the chase and you call me mate, all right? I love it. Justin, until next time, thanks so much.
Good on you, mate.
God, I swear to God, I love that.